Hello and welcome to the Musical Instrument Investigator. Today we're on the website of Tennants Auctioneers based in the UK, and we're going to have a look at their latest auction, which is covering scientific musical instruments, cameras and fishing. But we are just going to have a look at the musical instrument part because that's all we're interested in. Looks like the buyer's premium is 22% plus VAT, so 26.4, so that's the percentage that you have to add to the final hammer price. Looks like if we go to the sections here, actually just here, there's 115 musical instruments, so we'll just go straight to that because we're not interested in the rest of the stuff. As I said, this is a UK based auction, so check all the terms and conditions, facts, etc. if you're looking to buy something and having it shipped outside of the UK. Check in the CITES restrictions and all of that kind of jazz. Those of you that have watched their channel before will know that Tennants are a bit like my nemesis in terms of kind of instrument auctions, because historically they've been really bad at kind of providing pictures for, especially for violins, or the pictures have been really terrible or the wrong angles. Well, I think today, or this particular auction, they're actually a lot better, the photos, so that's really good to see. I'm sure this is nothing to do with me ranting about them in every video that I make, but whatever the reason is that they finally decided to put some halfway decent photos up, I am quite grateful to that, so that is definitely a positive thing indeed. So without further ado, let's just get on and see what they have in the auction. Okay, so we have an electric violin by Fender. I mean, not much to report there. I think everyone knows what that is. Estimate 80 to 120. That seems all fine. This is interesting. R. Moody, the world's smallest violin, 1944. So 1 7/8 inches with bow in display case there. Interesting. Very curious. The instrument was constructed from typical parts by Mr. R. Moody of Gateshead over a period of 7 months in 1944, and includes newspaper cutting in the Darlington Chronicle and Sunday Express with articles 80 to 120. I mean, this is quite a curious looking thing, isn't it? So a bit of a curiosity object there. 80 to 120 if you are into that kind of thing. Selection of viola strings, various sizes. Looks like there's a couple of bows as well, 2 cello bows and some other accessory bits. Let's see the bows. It doesn't look like anything super crazy. 50 to 70, that seems all fair. Viola, 16 1/4 inches, labelled A. Day Riddler, Sunderland 1996, in a case with 2 bows. Let's have a look. So these, it's a lot better pictures than before. They're a bit more front on, they're a lot clearer actually. The colour of them is quite good. You can see the bows as well. Quality of the pictures is okay when you're zooming in, it's not too bad. From the back, I mean, it looks believable, I think, for what it's claiming to be. Potentially 600 to 800, maybe a little bit on the high side, but we shall see. Viola, 16 5/8 back, labelled Stenta Conservatoire there, together with another, with a violin actually, 13 inches, 200 to 300 is the estimate. Let's have a look at this. It's a fairly good photo. Okay. Yeah. Bow there as well. Okay, and another viola. Yeah, interesting lot there, 200 to 300. Viola, 16 inches, 1 piece, back. Makers label John Mather Harrogate, 2004, number 45. Looks like an interesting instrument there. Once again, sure it's a fairly believable label, I would think. So 300 to 400. It's not too outrageous. Violin, 11 1/4 inches, labelled Sebastian Klotz in Mittenwald, estimate 2 to 2,500. I mean, this is a really difficult one to know what's kind of going on here. I think I'd have to look at it in person. Certainly a smaller violin like that seems a bit of a high estimate, really, but those in the know might know better than I do on that. I'm not convinced. 55 violin, 14 1/4 inches, one piece back, no label, case with bow stamp to pay sold, 100 to 200 is the estimate there. This is a fairly standard trade violin there. Condition looks kind of okayish, and other than the fingerboard, which needs to be changed. 100 to 200, it's it's not too bad. Another violin here, 4 to 500 the estimate, 14 1/4 inches. It'd be helpful if they actually just did it in millimeters actually, but anyway. Here's a Storioni label, cased with a bow. Bow looks fairly decent. Interesting looking violin. Something's gone a bit wrong there. Interesting back. Looks like there may be a neck graft or something there. Fairly interesting violin. I think I'd want to look at it in person a bit more. Number 57, 14 1/4 inches, two-piece back violin labelled Stradivarius, made in Czechoslovakia, together with a violin branded Hopf in a case with a bow. It's a fairly interesting bow there. Interesting scroll on that violin. So this one is the one stamped Hopf. Nice pegs on that. Close up of the Hopf there, and a bit of the scroll. Moving on to the other instrument there. Looks fairly standard. Okay, still fairly, and this violin is kind of interesting. The scroll is definitely not quite what I expected. Interesting, definitely worth monitoring that one. Then we've got another violin here, a Metaphino. So this is your kind of standard French, 100 to 200. Nothing too kind of crazy about this one. Another violin here, stamped Viola in the back. It's got a bow. This looks like another standard trade violin there. 80 to 120. Another violin here, no label. 3,000 to 4,000. Wow, okay. I mean, it's definitely an interesting looking violin for sure, but I think you need to give a bit more information. Evidence of head grafts and repaired cracked upper ribs. I think if you're looking for like £3,000 to £4,000, I think you need to give a bit more information on a lot other than it's a violin with no label, and then say you want 3,000 to 4,000. Like, why is it 3,000 to 4,000? So that would be my my query there. I mean, it looks like an interesting violin, but I'd like to hear their reasoning for that estimate. Violin here, labelled CHJB Colin Mazar. A couple of bows, £2,000 to £3,000. I mean, it looks like your kind of normal French violin, and it's quite nice back, quite well made, so could well be as described. Is it a violin labelled J.E. Harris, Nile Street, Gateshead, with a bow and some accessories, 400 to 600. Back looks pretty nice. Scroll not too bad. Looks believable. 4 to 600. Another violin here, labelled John Askew, maker Stanhope, 1872, with a letter from T. Alexander, violin maker and repairer, 1971, stating the instrument was made by Askew. Estimate 2 to 3,000. I mean, it's an interesting looking violin. I just not aware of this maker so much, but I'm feeling that this is a bit of a high estimate again. Violin here, labelled M. Costelli, Paris, 5 to 700. It's the estimate. Looks okay. Another violin, Stradivarius label. Looks kind of fairly interesting scroll actually. See if there's any notes here. Interesting looking violin actually. Probably good for the £40 to £60 estimate. Substandard repairs around neck block and a peg box. Yeah, so there's some funny things going on, but it's interesting. For 40 to 60, I don't think that's too bad. Violin, saying labelled CHA Son Hagastrand Strand Stockholm, with another violin as well. We're getting into the low tier of things where they're not bothering with any decent pictures, which is fair enough. 2 to 300, you know, maybe this violin is kind of okay. It's possible. I presume that's the one, the Swedish one. There's a violin here, labelled Andre Cassigneri, Paris, 1755, cased with a bow, £300 to £400. Interesting looking scroll. This needs a bit of repair. Let's have a look at the back on that. Yeah, definitely needs some repair there. I think this is actually quite an interesting lot. You can see what looks to be a neck graft there. Interesting scroll. Yeah, I think that is one of the more interesting violins. 3 to 400, that could be potentially good. Another violin here, labelled John Mather Harrogate, 1993, number 27, 3 to 400. Once again, I think that's probably believable. Violin here, labelled Jean Barzoni, Paris, 1840, with another violin there. A couple of bows, or two bows even. I mean, they're not really trying to help people look at these instruments clearly, so not much effort made on the photography. Yeah, 80 to 120 could be alright. This first one looks interesting. Violin, labelled made by George Krask, born at 1795, died 1888. Special sold by William E. Hills and Sons, together with a bow stamped Franz Sudner. Estimate 2 to 3,000. Interesting looking violin there. Yeah, I mean, I think it's got a definite possibility there. You'd want to see more photos. It'd be interesting to see what the label looks like, but that could, if it was to be a Krask, which I think that it could potentially be, or someone has made an effort to make one look like it, then I think 2 to 3,000 is actually not a bad price, and I think it might do well. Another violin here, no label. Looks fairly tidy there. 5 to 700. Looks okay. Violin Bow. 5 to 700 there. This is snakewood. Interesting frog. See what the head is. I think you really want another close-up picture of the head here if you're trying to sell a bow for that estimate. Another violin bow here, stamped Vora, 2 to 300 they've got here. Yeah, this other bow should have had a picture of the head like that. Violin by Eastman Strings, Young Master. So this is probably a Chinese made violin, I would think. 80 to 120, that seems fair. Cello, 25.5 inches. Stentor Student there. 80 to 120, I mean it's low level thing. Now we're out of the bowed strings, I think now. Alto flute, stamped G de Champs, Paris, in a case, 500 to 700. Kuzno wooden flute, Paris there, 5 to 700. A Haynes flute, 1200 to 1500, that's the estimate. Jack Leff, Paris, flute, 4 to 600. LL Lebret flute, 150 to 200. Lamberson flute there, 1000 to 1500. Mateki flute, 6 to 800. A lot of flutes in this auction. Muramatsu flute, 2 to 300. A wooden flute there, Ruddle and Cart, London, 2 to 300. Alto saxophone, Bell engraved Artemis, purchased from Banks Music Shop in York, 100 to 150 there. Besson soprano saxophone. Looks like there's some other JTL simple system clarinet and a Selmer simple system clarinet in case. Interesting lot. 80 to 120. Bass clarinet, stamped Nobler, 80 to 120. Clarinet, stamped Leblanc, Paris, 100 to 150. Clarinet Vito Resotone 3, 40 to 60. Clarinet pair by Kuzno and C, 80 to 120. Clarinet pair by Leblanc, Paris, 2 to 300. Yamaha clarinet there. Looks like there's something else with that. Tenor saxophone, and also with a parrot trombone. Bassoon, Bell marked VKS trademark, 100 to 150. Cor Anglais, stamped Cook and Son, 700 to 900. It's got a stand as well. Hans Krul oboe, 250 to 300. Howarth oboe, 100 to 150. Prestini oboe, 150 to 200. Pushner oboe, 150 to 200. Rigutat Prestini oboe, 250 to 300. Rigutat oboe, 800 to 1200. Selmer oboe, 250 to 300. Ward and a Winterbourne TW5 oboe, 500 to 700. Dolmetsch Dolomite tenor recorder, together with a treble recorder, wood and soprano recorder, and a sopranino recorder, and 2 whistle flutes, 40 to 60. That could be an okay lot for someone. Recorders, Yamakawa bass, tenor, treble and sopranino, and a Yamaha soprano, all cased, 50 to 80, once again not too bad. Trombone B flat F by Vincent Bach, model 36, 400 to 500. Trumpet Imperial model by Boozy and Hawks, 40 to 60. Zenith Mark III trumpet, 30 to 40. Acoustic guitar by K Yari, 400 to 600. Just this one picture there. Classical guitar with another acoustic guitar, 60 to 80. Constructed bass guitar kit there, so Gibson Explorer style, 60 to 80. Constructed kit bass guitar, Gibson Explorer again. Another constructed kit guitar, it's Ibanez style, 60 to 80. Another one of the Ibanez ones. Another Ibanez one. Constructed kit Telecaster style with the one where you can reshape the headstock yourself. Another one here, same thing. This is a Gibson 350 style kit. Another kit guitar of the Strat where you can shape the headstock. Another one there. X electric guitar. It's got a CITES license on that. Interesting. Epiphone Sheraton semi-acoustic, 100 to 150. Fender Resonator guitar. Fender Stratocaster electric guitar, 100 to 150. Gibson Les Paul electric guitar, 800 to 1000. That's fine. Gretsch Electromatic hollow body, 200 to 300. Hagstrom Super Swede electric guitar, 100 to 150. Ibanez Artcore series hollow body guitar, 100 to 150. These are quite nice, these Artcore ones. Joan Kashmira model 740L classical guitar, 2 to 300. Cameron Music by Ovation Applause Bowlback electroacoustic guitar, 80 to 120. Martin Trebolo 15M acoustic guitar, 5 to 800. Starcaster guitar by Fender, and together with a Vesta bass guitar and an amplifier, 80 to 120. Seems fair. Tanglewood TW017 acoustic guitar. 3 electric guitars, Fender Squier Strat, Encore Strat and Alba bass. Fender Cyber Twin amplifier, 120 to 180 with foot control. Don't know much about that. Vox Wah Wah Boss Compression Electro Harmonics Big Muff, 100 to 150. Seems maybe a tiny bit high. Marshall JTM 30 valve amp, 80 to 120. Meridian PA system, 100 to 150. Sennheiser guitar microphone, 100 to 150. Vox Valvetronics amplifier, 100 to 150. Banjo 5-string together with another banjo 5-string Clifford Essex one. Another banjo 5-string W Temlet Maker London, 80 to 120. Banjolele together with a fretless banjolele type instrument and a bowlback mandolin, 60 to 90. Deering Good Time 4-string banjo, 80 to 120. Banjolele and a concert ukulele there. Mandolin by McNeela, Dublin. Also mandolin by Antoria. Another banjo mandolin. Tenor ukulele by Iberica, 80 to 120. Ukuleles Makala and a Tanglewood, 30 to 40. Accordion, a Lyra, and also it looks like there's a Hawks, Boozy and Hawks Regent oboe. Anglo Concertina, manufactured for Caulfield Brothers, 80 to 120. Another Anglo Concertina, 30 buttons, 60 to 80. Hohner accordion, 12 bass buttons, 25 keys, 40 to 16. Banjolele there, together with tuba, 80 to 120. Clarinet, the Buffet B12, together with a Besson trombone. Another Clarinet Buffet B12 with a Yamaha trumpet. A Gothic Harp there, 2 to 300, looks like a modern one, like an early music shop type thing. Another harp here, so fairly modern, 3 to 400. Medieval Fiddle, 80 to 120. No bow, interesting. R.T. Shepherd small pipes there, 2 to 300, they're usually quite popular. Soprano Viola, 80 to 120 is the estimate. Two Lark violins with a soprani accordion. Okay, so these are the Chinese Lark violins that are not so great. 40 to 60 the estimate there. Yamaha Dx7 digital programmable algorithm synth, 70 to 100, and I think that is it. That is the end of the musical instrument part of this auction. Some interesting things. I have to say some of the pictures are better than before, so I can't rant about that too much. I don't understand some of the estimates. I can see where an instrument looks interesting, and obviously people in the know might kind of have an idea what it is, but you have to understand that kind of general public and people, students, etc., that are looking to buy something that probably have money they'd also like to spend would probably like some kind of additional information about what something is if the estimate is quite high, like on lot 60. So a note to anyone from Tennants that may or may not watch these videos, if you're going to put an estimate quite high on something, then at least elaborate a bit more on why. Anyway, that's my kind of rant over. This has been the video. I'll put a link in the description as always. Check it out, see what you think. Any comments, questions, concerns, just fire away, and I'll catch you next time. Bye. Many thanks for tuning in to the Musical Instrument Investigator. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, then please like, subscribe and turn on notifications, and watch out for the next video coming soon.